Welcome to Mind Your Matter. I'm Jody.
I'm Shannon, and let's get into the conversation.
Okay.
So we're jumping in and we're talking about good girl, like good girl programming, like the good girl, what it looks like, what it means. And I was telling Jody before we started recording that so many of the people that I work with, this is an issue. That they'll start talking about a situation, and it's so easy. I think this is the tricky part, right? It's so easy to see it when somebody else is describing a situation to you, but when you're in it, it's like, what? No, like that's not happening. Like one of the clients that I work with just had a house built, like from the ground up, like from scratch. And she's a single woman and, doing everything kind of on her own. And how many times she found herself kind of just like, okay, like going along with something when she knew that this was not like the way to do something, sort of thing. And she's like, okay, why do I keep doing this? She's like, I will have it all planned out, exactly what I want to say, and exactly, all of these things. She's like, and then the moment that I get in front of this contractor or this other, situation, she's like, I just find myself like a deer in the headlights, just blinking and smiling and nodding in agreement. And I'm like, that's good girl programming, right? Like you get into a situation where somebody else is acting like the expert at you, and all of a sudden you are, cat got your tongue. You can't say anything. Like you're just frozen right there.
Yeah.
And I think that happens. So like I cannot even tell you the amount of times in my life that has happened to me, personally. Like it's insane. Like from tiny things to really big. Like my daughter got a vaccine when she was young because of that good girl kind of situation. Like, we went in for something and the doctor's like, oh, she's got this situation and this is kind of coming up, like this pneumonia situation. It's terrible. Like, I'm like, Shan, she could die. That's what she said to me. Shan, she could die if you don't do this and whatever. And like, I'm sitting there terrified and whatever, and it's like, okay, but is that really likely? Like I'm like, new mom, brand new mom, new whatever. And so I'm just like, okay, like, but is that really? And she's like, you don't want to be responsible for that, do you? You don't want to. And like this doctor that we had loved, like all of a sudden saying these things, it was like I couldn't go against her, like her expertise and her, I absolutely just felt shut down in that moment. And I think that is so much of what that good girl thing does, is just shuts us down. Like
Oh
we
my.
literally just stop speaking the truth entirely.
Oh man, those are really that's an excellent example of being shut down in that way. I know for me, I've been carrying around that good girl thing my whole life. And at first I just thought like, oh, let me blame religion. Or, it's my upbringing in that way. And I mean, yes, it is my upbringing in a way because there were just so many things wrapped up in not only my religious practice and our family's religious practice, but then just expectations at home. And we were always taught, like, you just don't question authority, you just do what you're told. Um, and so I think it played into that in that way for me in terms of like carrying that good girl identity. I think it played into it a little bit. Um, but from like a religious standpoint, there was just so much pressure to be good, from a very young age. So being a good girl was, maybe that was said to me as an infant. Maybe that was said to me as a child. I'm sure it probably was. Oh, you're so good. You're such a good girl, whatever. And it just like sunk down into that space of being good is good. And I would agree that being good is good. I would also say that our idea of what being good is not good for us.
Yes.
And I had to, oh my gosh, I have walked exactly what you're talking about. So interestingly, one of my kids got into like middle school area and like that time frame, and they were wanting to give a specific vaccine at that time, interestingly. And for whatever reason, I literally was like, absolutely not. And I remember it so distinctly because I had said yes to everything else. But for this one thing, I was just like, nope. And my doctor, he did that same thing to me about her and was like, this is a serious thing and it can become very, very serious and da da da. And I was like, no, we're not having it. Well, you need to look at these other things. And I'm like, it was like school related and stuff. And I was homeschooling my child at that time. So I was like, I don't need any of this. Like, this isn't even relevant for me. And it was the first time that I ever like stood up to my pediatrician. The first time. And it felt dang good. But I was also just like, man, I was very convicted about that. Like, that's definitely a no for me. So it wouldn't have mattered what he said to me. It was just a no. But I remember it distinctly because it was the first time in my life that I really remember being like, you can use all your fear and scare tactics that you want. And I'm just an absolute no on this. I wish I would have had that kind of clarity on so many other things in my life that I was bowing down to. But it was a start. The other thing for me though, as far as like the good girl thing goes, that I feel like it's rampant. And this is such an important conversation for so many reasons because this whole podcast is about minding your matter and how much what is like buried in our minds, what is growing there, what is planted there is impacting us on a physical level all the time, and how we can impact our reality just based on what is being held in our mind. And whatever ideas about ourselves are held there, whatever ideas about the world are held there. And in my experience, the Good Girl program, and that's all that it is literally a program inserted into the operating system of you. And it's not just for women, there's a good boy program too.
Absolutely.
There's good girl, good boy. So this goes both ways. I'm just going to express it from the good girl because I'm so familiar with it. But my good girl programming had me doing every next thing that was popping up. Every next thing. Oh, this is going to take me to the next level of my healing. Oh, this is going to take me to the next level of my consciousness. This is going to take me into the next level of my spiritual journey. I'm doing that. I'm doing that. I'm doing that. It was all motivated by the good girl because I'm a good girl and I do these things to be good.
And to be accepted and to be acceptable and to be lovable and to be, I think that's the thing, that's the kicker, is that we do all of these things to fit in and to belong, and for all of these reasons that kind of get shoved down our throats. It literally is part of the programming.
Well, and for me, I even became the victim of the good girl program. I mean, I became full on a victim of that good girl that was running inside of me because I remember going through difficulty in my marriage, in my relationship, and having conversations alone in tears, being like, why is this happening to me? I'm good. I'm
Yes.
good. I'm a good person. Why is this happening? Victim, 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 victim. But it's the good girl running. I'm doing everything I know to be good. And this is happening. You're treating me like this.
Yeah.
You're doing this to me. You don't appreciate me. I'm a good girl. I like when I tell you this was so deep in me, so solidified in me. Um, the good girl program is just another another mechanism for the survival programming to run masked. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
so I was living in that good girl frame and it had me saying yes to all these things I didn't want to say yes to. It had me tolerating a bunch of BS that I should never have tolerated. It had me convinced that I needed to do more work on myself because other people were mirroring back to me these attributes of me and I was here to be good. When I tell you that I chased being good, like I didn't even know I was doing it. I
Yeah.
really didn't know that. And it really wasn't until I started to have that breakdown around my relationship and which was my identity, which was all of it, and going, why is this happening to me? I'm such a good person. I'm a good wife. I'm a good mom. I'm a good, 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 good. I'm all these good things. So when anyone couldn't meet me there, whatever that means. Then it was like, oh, you're doing this to me and I'm so good. This is not fair. Right. So then I get to like live through some injustice internally. I get to live through, it's just, it creates these massive conflicts. So if you're out there listening to this and you've struggled with these ideas that you don't know why things happen to you that are bad because you're good and you're doing everything you can to be good, I'm here to just let you know you're running a victim program. It's a victim mentality. It's a programming in your system that's got you looping, and you're working so hard to be good and nothing seems to be coming back to you that mirrors that necessarily, or maybe it's hit or miss or whatever, but it's just another loop.
Yeah.
It had me chasing personal development. I participated in it. I dove into it for 2.5 years, working with mentors and coaches and all of this stuff. And I was just totally in pursuit of fixing my flaws. I have all these flaws. I have shadows that need to be purged and demons that need to be exercised. I have all these things that need to come out so I can live in my goodness. And I think that's the thing for me now is because I've walked through it and become awake to my own self and been like, whoa, this thing has had me chasing my tail this whole time. It's a complete distraction and all under the guise of being good, right?
Yeah.
So it's so hard to notice because you're just pursuing being good.
Yeah.
And
Or
I,
right. Or right, even, right? Because I think about that. This is one of the ways where it's easy for me to see good girl programming in other people, but why it was so hard to see it in myself. Because I don't know that I ever, no, I don't think anybody ever told me I was a good girl or that I was whatever, but I was smart. And so I would hear all the time, you're right. Right, right. And so this is a sneaky way I think that that good girl program sneaks in is that I'm not always trying to be good, but I'm trying to be right. I'm trying to do the right thing. I'm trying to, you know what I mean? All of that language, same, same. It literally, so for those people who can't relate to the good girl, like, no, I never felt like I was good. I never felt like I was, but were you always trying to do the right thing? Or were you trying to be right? Or were you terrified to get it wrong? Right? Because that was the thing with my daughter in the vaccine situation is what she was presenting to me was, okay, but like, what if you're wrong? And she's not okay, then she dies, right? Those stakes are through the roof if you're wrong. So then my good girl programming led to horrible amounts of indecisiveness for me
oh,
because I'm afraid to be wrong. Like, oh my, and you may be like me where it's like, oh, let me read 9,264 reviews on something before I'll buy it. Or let me, right? Say that's all good girl programming because it comes from this need to get it right, to do the right thing, to make the right purchase, to do whatever is right. It's the same
it is.
program under a
It's
different name.
It is exactly the same. And it's such an important point to make because it's not just that I want to be good. Being right is absolutely linked with being good. We link those things together easy. So yeah, that's so important to bring to this conversation. I think in my experience, when I see it present, and I'm gonna tell you the truth, I only recently really became more aware of it in my space in terms of like my interactions with people because I was really like processing that this is something that I deal with. And how do I cut ties with that automatic program that wants to run my system and direct me into doing certain things? And I can talk about that later about things that I started to notice and what began to shift inside of me so that maybe this can be helpful to those of you who are the slaves to good girl, good boy programming. But um, what I started to witness is watching other people, and I did this. That's why I was like, oh, I see it. Oh my gosh, this is what this was like. Watching other people who even like put themselves in spaces where they're learning from someone else, they're growing. And I'm very aware of all the lingo. Like I worked in personal development. I didn't just do it, I worked in a company. So I started to get really quick on the lingo and the terminology that gets used to press on things that are touching psychological buttons. And, it's therapy talk, and I hear it. And so, and I'm not here to knock any of that. I'm just telling you, like, it becomes very clear when someone's therapizing you and or someone else. And so I started watching this happen in different groups and different online spaces. Like I started to see this and I was like, oh my gosh. And I realized even people who are doing the work for themselves, like they're taking themselves to the process. I started to see like, ooh, this is being completely instigated by good girl programming or good boy programming. Oh my gosh. No, get out. It's like I just want to be like, get out of there. It's like you're good. You don't need all that. And I do understand that people will walk through these levels of awareness where they're going to have to figure it out for themselves. I do get that. It's just witnessing it and seeing people. And it's usually people who are younger than me. So I'm just going to be very clear about that. It's not always. A lot of time I've seen people that are older than me that are still doing it. It's not always. I just see it a lot in the younger generation. And it is that thing. I believe it is that thing to be right. Like there is this thing that I watch people attempt to um bridge in their lives where they don't feel valid. And it's like, well, if I can prove that I've done all this and that I'm doing it right and I'm doing it good, then other people will see me as wise, even though I have not even leveled up to wisdom in my life yet. Not even close. And it's not because you don't have enough experience, it's because you don't understand what wisdom really is. That's another conversation. It's just watching it all play out. And I'm like, oh, you're parroting something that you heard a wise person you deemed wise say or spit out to you, and you're regurgitating it. And I can see that. I'm watching it happen. And I'm like, no, this is still the same good girl, good boy programming underneath it all, you know? And like I said, everybody's got to go through their thing and uncover that for themselves. It just becomes really clear. And the reason that I know what it is because I had to wake up to it in myself and start going, oh, hold on, hold the phone. I'm saying things because someone said them that I trust or that I learn from or whatever, not because necessarily I really know that for myself.
Right.
Well, like, not because I've really walked that and said, like, oh, I get this now. Oh, okay, this is all the sense in the world. It was always about, well, looking to the places that seem to be doing it right or seem to be progressing or making things good in their life. Like, oh, I want that. And that's a good thing to desire in your life, I would say. And also, that program is insidious because it really starts to control you in ways that you're unconscious to.
Yep. Yep. And I was thinking about, because I've talked to people too who say like, "Oh, I'm not affected by that. I'm not affected by that programming." And I always just kind of smile and shake my head because I'm like, I haven't met anybody yet, really, who's not affected, who doesn't have some sort of program running around who they should be and how they should respond to the world and, show up basically. But I've noticed something in common with some of the people who tell me like, "Oh, I don't experience that." And oftentimes they're the people who will say things like, "You know what, we need to normalize XYZ," like fill in the blank, right? Of whatever, whatever it is that they're talking about. And I'm like, okay, but do you see how this is the same thing? Like when you're saying, let's normalize this, you're saying, let me be good. Let this thing about me that I'm not necessarily comfortable with, let this be normal. Let this be good. Let this be right. Let this be okay. And so
Mhm.
I just think it's funny, like for the people who say, like, "Oh, I'm not experiencing this, and this is not something that I struggle with, and this is not something I relate to." How often do you think, like, could we just normalize this thing? Like, could somebody just look at this my way? Or when people say, I'm just thinking of all like I guess they're like millennial or Gen Z phrases now, like normalize or hear me out. You know what I mean? When people are like, hear me out. And I'm like, that's the good girl. That's the good girl programming, right? Like I'm about to present something that I'm hoping that you'll validate on some level right now. And that need for validation, that need for normalization, that need, it's all part of that program. It's all part and parcel of that program.
Yeah, and can we just talk a little bit about how that program infiltrates us? We just had the conversation about being under the influence, but it infiltrates all of these different roles in life. I had written something down a while back about the hoax of the trad wife. It's a complete hoax. Like that's a hoax around our femininity. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like it's all theater.
Yeah.
It's all theater. It's all make believe. And what is driving that? Being a good girl, being acceptable, being pleasing, be like all of these words fall in line with good girl programming.
Yeah.
Acceptable, pleasing, um,
Normal. Normal.
being feminine,
Oh, yes.
all the myriad of definition around that. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So it's just like
Or
I
masculine
or
if you're a man.
masculine. Listen, oh my
Masculine's
goodness.
good too.
Oh my goodness. You know, the theater around being masculine and all the different ways that that is defined.
Mhm.
And it's just so look, being in this simulation is just such an interesting experience. I'm telling you, like there's so many different ways you can look at it. I know for me, most days I'm like looking around going, this place is wild. Like
This is
literally,
a trip.
this place is wild. Look at all this going on, you know? Wow. And everyone's different interpretation of what it means to be XYZ thing. And it's there's an under, an undergirding of like being good, because sometimes good doesn't mean that I am necessarily accepted by all. Sometimes people are driven by the program of being good so that it's like, I must stand up for myself. I must stand up for injustice. I must, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, it's like like an activist who would
yes.
think I'm going against the grain and I'm not fitting in. Okay, but why? Why do I feel like it's my duty? Like it's my that's the program. That's the program running.
It's
Just looks
it,
different on you than it does on somebody else, maybe.
right, right. It doesn't have to look like the trad wife.
Right.
Might look like
The
the woman.
opposite.
Yeah, it might, because in their mind, that's good. We need to promote this idea of living life because this is the good way to live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's this subjective idea of what's good. And it's so on our end, what our experience was to be a bit more docile, a bit more conformist, until you just literally can't bear it anymore, until you're just like, what is happened? And you get to where we are in our life and we're like, oh, please, like you're not going to be able to bring that in my space anymore. And I'm just going to be like, oh, yeah, okay, yeah. Like now it's like, I'm sorry, what did you say? Move along, move along. It's just like you get to that point where you're just like, and there will be no more of that. There will be no more of me pleasing anyone. There will be no more of me bending over backwards. There will be no more of me contorting myself to please this or please that, or, quiet
Right.
myself, any of that stuff. You really do get there, and the program begins to break down. It can't run forever. I mean, people could,
I mean, I
they could,
think it can. I think I've seen people who are
they could give it a
farther
shot.
along.
I
Right.
know.
And they're
Just
still
the
doing
thing,
it. Yeah.
I think the part here that's so valuable for us to talk about is the physical breakdown of what happens to us on a physical level when we're running a program that's initiating us into what looks like being better.
Burnout is the first thing automatically that comes. I mean, I think that there are a million different ways that this will express physically as there are people. You know what I mean? Like it's going to just take over for most people. But I think that the way that we kind of see this playing out collectively, and especially among women, and I'll just say that because that's a lot of who I work with, um, is burnout. Like it's just people will come and they're like, I am physically exhausted. I am mentally exhausted. I'm emotionally exhausted. Like I literally am empty. I'm on empty in every area of my life. And
Yep.
I'm like, that's because you're not living for you according to your values and your own identity. You're living according to this program that you were never designed to run. Like, yeah, it's wearing your battery down. That's
Right.
that's exactly what's happening. That's accurate.
And the crazy thing about that is you would think that something programmed into you to make you good would bring good results. And it really doesn't, because it's a subjective idea of what good is. It's actually a false idea of what good is. It's really all theatrics. It's all playmaking. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, and let's pretend that now we're this, you know? Um,
That's
I
the word, pretend. You're so right. Pretend. Sorry, but yes, keep
oh, no,
going.
no. Yeah, no, it is the pretending. And I think that's the thing is like the pretending is what is so um what's the right word that I'm looking for? It's like it's infectious in a negative way.
And
The pretend,
draining.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't even tell you. And the crazy thing about it is that most people don't think they're pretending. I didn't think I was pretending. I
Did you
thought
think you were a people pleaser though? Like, did you ever look at it? Because I hear that from women all the time. I love the meme that's like on the internet right now that's like, oh, you're a people pleaser. Name 5 people who are pleased with you. Right?
that's so good.
Like I love that one because it really is accurate. Like we're mostly when we talk about people pleasing, we're just spinning our wheels, right?
Absolutely.
Because so many people, like if God himself came down from heaven and tried to do something for these people, they wouldn't be pleased. Like so we're people are actually just spinning their wheels with this people pleasing thing, another face of that good girl, good boy, whatever programming. Um, and like it's just exhausting. And to what end? That's the question I always ask, right? We're doing this. Okay, cool. To what end?
Right.
For what purpose? You know, in the words of Dr. Phil, how's that working out for you?
Right. Exactly. I think for me, I would definitely say yes. I was people pleasing. Um, and I don't even know if I could have seen it at the time that that's what it was. You know, that's why I didn't think it was pretend. I thought it was this is how you do. Like, let me be good. Let me be good. So, what is it that I need to do to be good? I've seen things that are not good that I've deemed not good. I've seen the results of those things. I don't want to do those things. So, let me do these other things. And it became like in my life specifically, it became where I was incredibly skilled at diplomacy. I can be one of the most diplomatic people. I had someone who I worked with in personal development tell me once, like, you know, the thing about you, Jody, is I love sending you to go tell people what needs to happen because you have this way. And he's like, I don't know if it's because you're Southern or what. He's like, but you just tell people how to cow eat the cabbage. And like, you do it so graciously and so pleasantly that they're just so happy to let you tell them off. Like, you'll just tell them with a smile on your face, and they're like, oh, thank you so much for telling me that. And I laughed about it because I thought, well, that's definitely not my experience. I think it's funny that you see me that way. It was just I had learned how to skillfully navigate delivering difficult news to people because in my early years, I got put in places of leadership and management and was even in my job had to hire and fire at a very young age people that were old enough to be my parents, and that backlash was unreal. And the strength it took for me to actually do that job in most cases was so challenging. And so I had to learn just in my own ways to be like, well, I didn't like that result, so we're gonna do it a little different. And really what it was it was a way to like basically make concession for everyone else's emotional experience. Mine was irrelevant. So if you're listening to this at all and you've had that going on in your life where it's like you are constantly managing, taking the temperature of people in your space, and you're concerned about how to deliver information or bring up certain topics or have certain conversations, like that program is running deep in there, that need to do it good, to be pleasing, whatever. And um it will break you eventually. The body eventually says, we're not doing this anymore. This is not how we feel. This is not who we are. It does not feel good to constantly put other people's experience before our own. And yeah, that was what I experienced in my own life. It's like there came a point where it's just like, girl, we're not doing this anymore. And just to make sure you don't make any moves to keep it the same, I am going to make sure you're, pretty much laid out here for a little while. It was pretty intense in terms of what I experienced in my physical body from years of wanting to be good. And
Yeah.
then I had to break that down. And then I had to walk through the process of, why did this happen to me? I'm such a good person. And then I had to basically like come to grips with, where did you get that? Like now you're going to be a victim to being good. Like how many people have been given a diagnosis that is just absolutely not something that you want to hear, and the only thing they can think is, why is this happening to me? I've done everything I know to do to be good. I'm doing all these good things, you know? And so that's why I feel like this conversation is so important, because you might be doing all the things you deem good, and something still comes up in your life that does not reflect that back to you. And then you get to be a victim to being good. And is that curing you? Is it getting you anywhere? Is it moving you further along? Usually people get stopped right in their tracks around that, especially when life tosses something at them that they're like, I'm sorry, what? I am literally doing all this for people. I'm living this way. I'm making sure that I, address these things in my life. I'm journaling every day. I'm processing my emotions. I'm taking the courses. I'm doing the work. All this stuff that's being motivated by a need to be good, to avoid punishment.
Yep. Or what you
That's
perceive as punishment. Because at that point, then, right, your body's punishing you. Like that's a viewpoint that we kind of tend to take, right? Like, oh, okay, my body is punishing me for all of this good girl, whatever kind of stuff. So I'm going to get it in line and be right. I'm going to make what was wrong right again.
Mhm.
And it's just another hamster wheel, the same program. Like it's just another one that you're hopping on all over again. Like there's no, and I think we either end up there, and I mean the physical stuff behind that can be absolutely physical. You can be, chronic fatigue and 50 million other things, mast cell stuff and POTS and autoimmune and this, and there's plenty of ways that I think that expresses anxiety, right? How many people have terrible anxiety, and it's that I'm kind of living in a way that's incongruent with who I really am. Like
Mhm.
that's anxiety producing for me even thinking about that. But then I think about too the people where maybe they recognize it. Maybe they recognize like, okay, so I've had a faulty definition of good, whatever that means. Okay, so now I'm going to, and I'll say this because I think that this is one of the things that I fell into, and I've seen a lot of people fall into it, is that the thing that was put on me that I called good for a number of years is actually not good at all. And so I'm going to just go and do the opposite of all of those things that was good. You know what I mean? Like one of my favorite shows in the world is Gilmore Girls, and I like anytime I think about good girl programming and going against the good girl, I always think about the relationship between the two moms in that show, like the matriarch, who's this kind of hoity-toity, lots of money, manners. This is how you do everything, and her daughter, who's like, I just want to eat Pop Tarts and listen to 80s music. That's it. And the daughter became that way. She at a certain point was eating a Pop Tart and she's like, do I like this? Or do I just like it because my mother would never have allowed me to have it? Right?
Right.
Because it wasn't a good thing. This was not an acceptable thing. And I think about that like how many of us go just in the other direction and we're trying to get off of the good girl hamster wheel, and we're really just getting on another one, right? Because oh, that way wasn't right, it didn't feel right, and so now I'm going to go and I'm going to be right now, my way is going to be the right way. And either way, we're just still living out of alignment with
Yes.
who we are, with like our truth and the way that our soul came here to express.
Yes.
Like, either way, you did not dismantle the program. You just started running it in a little bit of a different way,
That's
thinking
right.
that you worked around it. You didn't.
Exactly.
You just started running it in a different way.
That's right. I love what you're saying because I actually tell people this when it comes to parenting. Um, because so many people are like, my parents did this and I'm going to do this with my kids. My parents did this and I'm definitely not doing that. We're going to do it like this. Um, like in specifics to things that they deemed negative in their growing up, right? I'm going to do it like this. And I've had people say that to me in session work and I'm like, okay, here's the issue. The issue is you're still parenting from a traumatized place because you're not healed. Doing it the opposite of what they did is not better. It's not better whenever the motive is, I just don't want to be like that.
Because they're still dictating it. Like that's what I
There's
say all the time.
still,
Your parents then are still dictating the way that you parent. Congratulations, you're still living according to the way that they parent.
right. And so, guess what's going to happen? Your kids are going to grow up and they're going to be like, my mom did this, and I know she thought she was doing so well, but I'm going to do this with my kids. And you know what? They'll probably do swing the pendulum all the way back to grandma and grandpa. Like, because it isn't authentic. It isn't, right? Is exactly what you said. It's not in harmony with what's true about us because we won't even take the time to know what's true about us. We're just willing to let every little program that's been installed from jump tell us how to think, how to be. And then when we wake up to that's a program and that doesn't work for me, let me just do the opposite. Let me just do the other thing. It's like, no, 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 no. This is the time to get clear on who you are. When you were saying that, it literally brought to my brain the fact that my mom, you talked about the prim and proper, matriarch of the family. So I grew up in a home where my mom literally kept Emily Post at her bedside like it was the Bible. We didn't have King James Version over there, even though we went to church. Emily Post was right there. And my mom referred to Emily Post about everything that we did because it needed to be done right. And her mom was the same way. Oh, no, no, no. That's not how you do that. That's not etiquette. That's not etiquette. That's not etiquette. So I had a bad taste in my mouth for a long time around etiquette because I was just like, oh my gosh, we can't even breathe wrong. Like, it matters and everything matters about like the way that it looks really matters. If you're out there listening to this and your life is always measured by how it looks, this is for you, honey, because I'm telling you right now, that is not real life. It's a game that you're not going to win. Ask me how I know. You're not going to win that game. So she really like measured us against that. And the way we were presented and the way we showed up in the world was a reflection on them. And so then it was like there was this level of keeping up appearances. And as I got into my adulthood and I was no longer under their roof, I much later on, I went and read Emily Post's work. And honestly, her premise for her work was beautiful. Her premise for her work was just like good etiquette is the way you interact with the world around you. What's your
Connection,
etiquette? Yes,
positive connections. It was
yes,
really allowing for positive, harmonious connection. Yes.
yes. And I'm thinking it's like you wear this kind of dress at this time of the day whenever you're attending this event. Do you know what I mean? It was just like so far off of what the intention was behind that. And so that's important for me to recognize because people will latch on to the doing of the things. Do this, do this, do this. This is what makes you good. This is what makes you right, acceptable, pleasing, et cetera, et cetera. When in fact, there's a whole intention behind it that whenever you get a hold of the intention, then you can take that if you want to, if you want to adopt that way of living and make it your own in the world and say, this is how I want to meet people in the world, right? Or this is how I want to show up. This is what matters to me. And so that was a big moment for me, realizing like, oh, it wasn't all that stuff that I thought it was. I actually think this is a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful ideology to adopt in terms of being in the world with people, like yes, do have good etiquette and get some manners while you're at it. I think it's great, you know? I think it's a great thing. So consequently, I raised my kids in that mannerly way that I was taught. You know, so at a very young age, they were given this very rigid way of showing up. And to this day, like if anyone encounters my kids, especially my sons, like they're going to get yes ma'am and yes sir and no sir and all that stuff because that's just like it's programmed in there, you know? And I can't say that I feel badly about that. I just want them to be able to utilize it from a genuine place that's not like it's just automatic, like it's really how they want to show up, you know? And that's what I would change in my way of being now. And that's why I do when people tell me, like, oh, my parents did that with us, and I'm not doing that. I'm just gonna let my kids say whatever they want. And I'm gonna let my, and I'm like, well, have you like thought that out all the way down? I'm not saying that you need to do it one way or another. It's just if you're doing it to spite your parents, then you're not doing it from an authentic place. And if, like you said, you know, if these are the things you've experienced running that program as the good girl, the good boy, being pleasing, you know, being acceptable, whatever, and you just say, well, I'm just going to do this other thing because this looks opposite of that. So surely that will work. It's still such a miss in your life because you really haven't taken the time to get to the point of what is authentic to me. I think this was the big moment in my life when I hit that place of like, oh my God, who am I? It was existential. It was a moment of like, who am I? Wait, what do I even like? Do I
Yes.
like the things I think I like? Do I do I really want to do the things I'm doing? Like, is this about me? And when I started to see that it wasn't about me at all, and it was me wanting to make decisions that I thought other people thought were the right decisions for me, my whole world unraveled. And it opened up like a 10-year journey of what the heck am I doing here? You know?
Yes.
So hate to say it didn't happen overnight,
It's
but
the Pharisee conversation in the Bible, right?
mm,
It's the you have, they have there's a law, like a way to go about things and a way to do things. But at a certain point, it's like if you have forgotten the spirit of that law and are just living by the letter of it, right? Like Jesus called them whitewashed tombs.
mhm,
Like that's some language right there, right? Like you look pretty on the outside, but you are dead on the inside. And I'm like, how many of us have lived exactly like that, where everything looks good on the outside, but we are dead on the inside because we have lost our why. We've just
yeah.
completely lost, who we are and the heart behind, who we want to be and how we want to show up. Like it's crazy. So when you said that, when you said, I didn't even know. I didn't even know who I was. And I kind of had to wake up to that. And like that to me is the only antidote for this situation. Like I wish I could say that, like, okay, so now here's your 1 through 5 steps on how we are going to get out of the good girl program. But it doesn't work that way in my experience, right? Like I love our state motto in North Carolina. I love it. It's to be rather than to seem. Isn't
Hmm.
that a great motto? Like for a state, like who knew? Like that's just good. It's clever stuff. But that's just it. Is I think that we have to look at and kind of just start dismantling all of the ways that I'm trying to seem like something to someone else.
Oh, that is so good. That is so good. I
Yeah.
mean, when I look out at the landscape of social media and the places where there's so much grabbing, wanting to get our attention, and the theatrics involved, and then watching people do their best to navigate their life, their human experience, and like, oh, somebody does it like this. I've seen this online. That looks good. Let me see how I can, model that in my life. And then it's just it has nothing to do with who they really are. It's just something that they deemed good. You know what I mean? And that's how you can tell. Look, if you're struggling to know, do I run this program or not? Look at all the things in your life that you've adopted, that you've implemented, that you've attached to your life, that you thought were good things because someone said they were good. Someone, gave you some kind of presentation of this thing and it looked like good. Oh, that looks good. That looks like a good thing. I think I'm
That
going to.
looks right. That looks right.
That's right. Every time you start looking at your life and going, I'm going to do that because that looks good, is a moment to step back and be like, okay, what is really behind this for me? What is it that I'm hoping this will mean about me? This will give me in my life. This will show the world. Because that's really what it starts to boil down to. It's like, I am taking these things on, I am adopting these things, or, using these things, or buying these things, or whatever, or making my best effort to emulate this idea that they've put out on social media about how a woman is, and how a mom is, and how a husband is, and how a man is. And, or I heard from so and so that this is what would be the best thing for me to do. This is the best way for me to show up. I'm going to tell you right now, this is probably going to ruffle some feathers. I quit. I quit letting people speak into my life. Flat out. I was
Especially if they don't have a life you want. That's always what I tell people. That's to me, that's the non-negotiable rule. If we're going to have a non-negotiable rule, mine is you cannot speak into my life. If we Freaky Friday tomorrow and I woke up in your space and I was not losing my mind, then maybe you could speak into my life. But if Freaky Friday happens and I wake up in your life and I am terrified and clamoring to get back, which is, let's be real, that's like 99% of people, you can't speak into my life. That
yeah,
cannot, that's not a thing.
I just see how rampant it is for people to seek out what they call mentorship, or, some kind of leadership, where they're going to connect with someone who's going to keep it real with them, who's going to tell them how it is. A lot of people like to be told. They like it. Something in them likes to be told. They like to be challenged at that level. I used to do it because I thought that was the right thing to do. I thought it was right. Like it was humbling for me to let someone else point out what they saw me doing or what they saw in me. And I'm not saying I didn't get some use out of people sharing things with me. It's just I decided for me, as like, I'm not interested in being told by you, because you know what? If you still feel like you need to tell people how it is, that's a whole thing you need to work on inside of you. Because I'm going to tell you right now, the truth doesn't operate like that.
No,
It
you might want to
doesn't.
take the plank out before you start commenting on the
The
spec.
truth does not operate like that. Are there truths that you can speak that might be challenging for people to hear? Yes. It's not going to be because you just said it like that and that's what it is. It's not that. It's going to be because the truth is piercing. The truth really does shatter paradigms. It starts to break things down. And there will be people that resist the truth because it's like, no, that's not for me. That isn't for me. It's a great, that's fine. They're just not ready to hear that or receive that. And I'm talking about truth. I am not talking about your truth. I am not talking about my truth. I am talking about the truth. Okay.
That's
And
the key. That's
there's
the key. Because the truth is never accusatory. But what will happen with real truth is that sometimes you will hold up what you have going on against the real truth, and you'll be like, oh, those do not match up right now, right? That's when it gets piercing. That's when you're like, oh, that was for me, right? Like we've all been in a room before where somebody says something. I told you this the other day about a video that Bo shared online, and he's talking, and I was like, oh, that truth that he's speaking right now, I'm like, that held something up for me and said, do these match? Do these match? And I was like, oh, no,
right,
no.
right.
And I didn't feel accused and I didn't feel ashamed and I didn't feel, because the truth is that's not what the truth does. That's not
Mm-hmm.
what, like if you start to feel guilty and ashamed, that's good girl stuff, right? Trying to get you back on the trying to get you back on the wheel right there. But
Mm-hmm.
it's not that. It's you can just see it. Like, okay. And I think the truth always kind of asks to for you to come back into alignment with it. Like it's such an invitation. You know what I mean? More than it's anything else. The truth is always an invitation.
Yes. It is an invitation, and I think when people start wielding it like a sword is when it's like, back on up. Just back up with that just a little bit, you know. It's not that it's again, it's just this thing. It's just this idea that we have that we're like some people are like, I tell the truth and that's just how it is. Sometimes I bring hard truths like, wait a
I'm
minute.
just blunt. I'm just direct. I hear those things from people all the time. I'm like, all I hear right now is I like to hurt people's feelings and smile about it. Like that's
Well, what I hear from it is I think I'm right. So much so that don't you dare bring that nonsense around me because you're going to get a taste of my rightness.
yeah,
And I I've lived through that. I have been her.
I've
I have
done it.
Yeah, I've lived through it and it's like actually that's not it. It's still very ego driven. It's still very centered in a wound that says, "Oh, well, I've already dealt with a bunch of nonsense in my life. Don't think you're bringing that over here. We're not dealing with that." You're still dealing with some survival stuff going on in there. I hate to tell you. When people started having conversations around me so much about boundaries, 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 I said, listen, y'all want to keep talking about boundaries. You're just telling me how much of a victim you are. You're just in survival mode. That's the boundaries conversation. Boundaries is all about I'm still a victim to my circumstance and my surroundings. So I got to put up a fence. And you think you're doing it for other people. Boundaries is about you, babe.
100%.
Boundaries is about all the places you violated your own self.
Yes.
Those things are for you to know how far am I willing to go. I told this to a person I worked with 5 years ago who was like, I told my husband this is my boundary, and I'm like, that boundary is not for him. It's for you, sister. That boundary is for you because you've been violating your own self.
Yes.
You're trying to tell other people, don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. It's like, no,
You're
girl,
putting fences around your wounds and calling them
no,
boundaries right
put
now.
the
You're
mirror on yourself.
yeah,
That boundary's for you. So again, the truth is for you. So in all the places where you're like, oh, I will let them know. If they even dare come over here, I will tell them the truth. Put the mirror up. Put the mirror up. That truth is for you. It is for you to live, right? It's again a place where you feel like that might be threatened in your space. And so you're just putting people on notice with the truth. Like, no, 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 no. The truth is for you. The truth is to heal you. The truth is to bring you into wholeness where you don't feel defensive anymore
right.
because you're not under attack.
Right. You don't have
That's
a wound that you're trying to protect any longer.
right. Right.
Yeah.
And so when we can learn to get that in us, I'm not under attack. The world is not against me. The world is what I make it. And I don't have any measure outside of me that dictates whether I'm good or not.
Ooh, say that part again. For real. Like there's no external measuring stick. There's
No.
no external measuring stick.
No, this is the story of the rich young ruler. This is the
Yes.
ruler who came to Jesus and said, "Good master, what must I do to be saved?" And the first response from Jesus was, "Who are you calling good? There's only one that's good." It was that thing that we do. Oh, you're so good. How can I be good like you?
Yeah.
You're so good. How can I get good like you? And Jesus was like, whoa, 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 whoa. Who are you talking about good? There's only one that's good. I've not called myself good. And if you're over here trying to get good like me, you're barking up the wrong tree,
Yeah.
you know? And then the conversation went a little further and it was, what must I do to get into heaven? What am I going to do to get there? And he said, obey the law. Oh, I already do all that. I do all the things that good boys do, right?
I'm always right. I'm
I'm
always
always
right.
right. I obey the law. I am doing my red light therapy. I am doing my cold plunges just like I saw online. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. I'm taking my supplements. I'm meditating every day. I am doing this.
Check, check, check,
Right.
check, check.
That's right. I'm eating all the protein I'm supposed to eat. And I, whatever. I have a savings account and I save my money and I do this, all the things. I listen to the gurus and I do what they say. That's what he was responding with. Oh, I do that. Follow the law, I do that.
Yeah.
And so Jesus' response was, okay, great. Sell everything you own and come follow me. And the story says that he went away with a heavy heart because he owned a lot of things.
Yeah.
He had great possessions. He had a lot in his life. And so this is the moment, right? This is that thing that rattles us out of that seeking of being good. In order to get out of that wheel of being good, it's going to require that you drop it all. You're going to have to drop it all.
Yeah.
Everything. Everything you've adorned your life with, everything you're after that you think makes your life good. And listen, I don't want to be semantical here. Obviously, if you're enjoying your life and there are ways that you are acting in your life and you're being in your life and you're like, oh, this just makes me feel so grateful. Don't get rid of those things. I'm talking about all of the little ways we dress our lives up.
Yes. The nonsense.
Yeah, the acting,
Yep.
all of the acting and the pretending, thinking that it's getting us a little closer to heaven, a little bit closer to our reward, whatever that might be.
All the things that look good. That's what Jesus was essentially telling him. Let go of all of the things that look good to you. Like all of those ways that you are impressive and showy, all of those ways that you are seeming rather than being.
That's right.
Drop it.
That's right. There's a reason why so many people who are um, drawn into celebrity later on in life want to shed it all because it's so hollow and it's so plastic and it's so superficial and they're not building anything substantial. And they come back to this place inside of them where it's like, this doesn't matter to me. I don't care about this at all. I just want to find what's true about me again. I feel like a hollow shell. And so, in our life and our experience, I think one of the biggest challenges is if you're putting things out where people can consume it and you're getting feedback that says, I want more of that. I want to do what you're doing. Tell me where you got this. Where did you buy this? Where did you get this thing? Where did you learn that? What books are you reading? How can I get to be more like you? Our ego, our ego loves it. And so it becomes challenging to keep ourselves grounded in that place and be like, you're gonna have to, I'm happy to share what I've done and still my shoes don't fit you,
Right.
you know?
Right. Yeah. Can we respond like Jesus? Right? Like, who are you calling good?
Exactly. Exactly. I mean, because what Jesus was saying was, this is what it takes to actually get what you're asking for.
Right.
This isn't a show.
Right.
This isn't pretend. Are you willing to strip yourself of everything that you think makes you pleasing in the world,
Yep.
props you up, and come my way, which is the way of total transformation, the way of change? And he wasn't. He was like, no, just tell me the 5 things I need to do so I can get there. Give me the 25 steps to abundance. And so I can follow those, And it doesn't work like that. And so I think the value in having this conversation is multi-layered, obviously. You and I love having these conversations. It's just it's important to bring to light, like, what is it that's motivating you into seeking the things that you're seeking? Because if it's not true to who you are, and it's not pointing you deeper into yourself, deeper into knowing yourself, into knowing the God that lives inside of you, then you're going to run in a circle. It'll be the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. Yeah. And the only thing that will change is the breakdown that will happen in your external world.
Yeah. And in your internal world, really, honestly, like both of those things, you just start to lose more and more of yourself. And how that shows up in each person looks different, but it never looks good. It never feels good. It's
Right.
not a pretty thing.
And I just think there's something to be said for the people who will actually take the time to figure out what is true to me,
Yeah.
what's authentic about me, what is aligned to who I am and who I am here to be in the world
Yeah.
on every level of my being. The way I eat, the way I dress, the way I live, the place I live, like I see so many people that will go and chase influencers' lives, literally want to relocate to where they live and all this crazy business. And it's like, you've just inspired me. You live this life. I want that life. It's like, you want what you think this life represents. And you might get over here where I am and turn your whole world inside out, upside down into full calamity because you don't know who you are,
Yeah.
you know? And I had someone say something not too long ago about wanting to find their people, wanting to be in community with their people and all this stuff. And like, we live in this part of the United States. We're thinking about going to this part of the United States and kind of playing around with it. Most of our kids love this other side of the United States, but we have one child who's just not a fan. And we don't know how to make this all work and blah, blah, blah. And it was in a community space. And I responded and I just said, a few years ago, I picked up, left where I'm from, and started over, completely started over. After many visits and a lot of prayerful consideration, it was not a whim. It was not oh, I just love it there. It just feels so good. Like, yes, that was true. And also, I had a lot to consider about my life. Like, what would my life look like every day in this environment? Can I
Yeah.
do that every day? Is that something I feel like I can be connected to every single day? And I had a lot of deep conversations with my husband and like, is this a life that we can build? Is this something that we can do? Because we're going to leave everything behind, you know? And the funny thing is, I moved to an area where I've said this before. So many people like to be out here because they're influencers. I can't even, there are so many influencers that live in the area we live in and have huge followings and all this stuff. And then they're all connected to each other. And it's a thing, it's a whole thing. And it was just like, I mean, at the time, I didn't even know that they were out here. But I wasn't coming from a place of like, well, it looks really cool. I mean, I came and experienced it for myself many times and was like, is this a right fit for me?
Yeah.
And it was. And we made the move. And then we went through all of the growing of that move, all of it, because it was turning our life into a thing that we really wanted. It was turning our life into like, oh yes, this is definitely experience that we want to have. This is opening us up. I just see so many people making moves and making decisions because of what they think something is based on what they're seeing in a space that has no ability to really convey the truth of that experience.
Yeah.
Because people are making it what it is,
Yeah.
you know? And maybe you could make it that. But if you're not making your life amazing where you are, maybe you can't do it there either. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, I'm not saying you have to, it has to be like, it's so great where you are. I'm like, are you maxed out where you are? Have you like maxed yourself out in that spot? Okay, then, but if you're just like, I really like it, I think it's like, well, what is it about all that? Like, what's going on inside there? Right. So, and this kind of a little rabbit trail, it's just one of those other places where I see people get so like enamored with other people's lives. And it's like, you're still going to have to live yours.
Yes. Wherever you go, there you are.
There you are.
Whatever you do, there you are. Like
Mhm.
you're still going to come face to face with you in the mirror. So
That's
if
right.
that's what the issue is, and it probably is, let's let's look at that one. Let's look at that issue. Let's not try to move again. Let's not try to let's 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 dig in.
Mhm.
Let's
Let's,
and dismantle. I mean, really, that's what it is. That's what most of this stuff is, right? When Jesus said, "Sell all your stuff." Like,
yep.
okay, well, in order to sell your stuff, you got to kind of take inventory of what you got. Okay, what do I have here? Like, like what needs to go, right? What should I not be carrying? What isn't mine? What
Yes.
isn't what isn't in harmony with who I really am?
And that's another side of the same conversation I was just having. Is
Yeah.
like that chances are high people are actually living in spaces that were never their space to begin with. And that's why they're so unsettled. It's like, this is not it. And it's like,
Yeah.
yes, and you still got to get down in there. You still got to get down in what's true about you. What are you here to create? What are you here to express in the world? Because wherever you are should be giving you the full map to that. Like it should be just opening the doors wide and being like, here you go. You have access to the whole menu here. Do you know what I mean? Like it really should be that. So if it is doing that, then excellent. But that also means that you took time to take inventory. You took time to assess those things and say, what am I really about? It's more than just, I want to feel like I'm on vacation every day.
Right.
Like, what am I here to express? What am I here to connect to? What am I here to create? What am I here to build? And when you can really start looking at that stuff, I think that even if it's slow, you'll start peeling yourself away from all of that programming around being good. And it'll be more about feeling good inside of you. Like I feel good because I feel aligned to the truth of me. I feel aligned to my soul's greatest expression. Like that's where you're headed, and that's where all the good stuff really is.
Yeah.
The good stuff.
Yeah.
So
The real good stuff.
the real good
Stuff
stuff.
like peace and joy and all those
Exactly.
things.
All those things that actually, when you get in touch with them and you begin to carry them in your body at a cellular level, radically heal, radically shift,
Yes.
radically bring wholeness to your life. And from there, the world is your oyster.
Yeah. It's just a playground.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Truly. We good on this? So, okay, until the next conversation, thanks for hanging out with us.